York's classic rock, Q1043.
And we are pleased to have in the studio with us this morning Greg Fitzsimmons, who's a four-time Emmy winner and a successful author and a successful comedian and a successful actor. And you've had a really great career. And certainly I knew the name Greg Fitzsimmons. You've been on with Joe Rogan, 20 times? You've been on with Howard Stern 50 times. I knew who you were. I knew you were successful. What I didn't know, Greg, was that your father was a friend of mine, your late father.
That is so amazing to me. It's when I talk to somebody like you that's been in the New York scene for this many years, I feel like there's a connection that you can't replace.
Bob Fitzsimmons was one of the great New York City radio performers. When I was acquainted with him and friendly with him, he was doing the morning show at WNEW AM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the time, I was doing the morning show at WYNY, which was right down the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a bit older than I was, and at the time, and gave me lots of great advice. He gave me lots of attention, and I was really in awe of him because he had a talent that is so special. He could be funny without trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just spontaneous wit.
Yeah.
Not a situation where he's writing out his material for the morning.
Yeah.
He just rolled with the flow, and instantly really cool, funny things just came out of his mouth. He was great.
Well,
and,
that's
and we lost him at such a young age.
Yeah, he was only 53, and but it was funny because growing up, we just had the radio set to whatever station he was on. He was on WNEW mostly in his career, ABC, NBC, WHN, and I found my father funny. I actually would listen to my father on the radio, and walking over here, I told Michael I was listening to Sinatra. I mean, the music that he played, Vic Damone and big bands and Ella Fitzgerald and all that incredible music.
The Great American Songbook.
Yeah, right. Tony Bennett. But mostly I just liked hearing him. Mayor Koch used to call into the show every single morning before he went to work. And they would have these back and forth because, Koch was right of my father. And I don't know if you'd call my father a bleeding heart liberal, but he wore his politics on his sleeve, and they had really, but it was never not funny when they argued about politics.
Well, Ed Koch was a very, very personable guy. And a really, terrific guest. Shortly before his passing, last time he visited with us, this is one of the things he said.
How am I doing? I'm Ed Koch with Jim Kerr on Q1043. I love Zeppelin. Jim, play me the Immigrant Song.
I mean, he just went public with being a Led Zeppelin fan.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that hit the news, actually.
But
I think I might have read about that.
But so you came from an entertainment background, an entertainment family, but you have just gone on to pretty extraordinary success.
Well, I always say I crawled my way to the middle, and I like it right here. I never broke through. I was never a theater guy. I've been a stand-up comedy club guy my whole life, and I sort of feel like I've got the balance with life, with my family. I just had my 25th anniversary. My kids actually like being around me, and I think that's one of the things I took from my dad as well, was like the balance in life. And I'm just happy to be doing what I love and not having to deal with the kind of pressure that comes with being uber successful.
Well, do you know how difficult it is to be a successful, consistent comedy club performer?
Yeah, I do know. I do know.
Lots of people try.
Yeah.
Few succeed.
Well, you told me before we started that my father's advice to you was to save your money, which you did not do.
Right.
And and he gave me the same advice, and I actually took it. I've been very frugal with my money, and I've had lean years that I've managed to get through, and Yeah, he had a lot of good advice.
Well, you have 4 Emmys on your mantle.
Yeah.
I mean that. I mean,
What are you saying? He could pawn one of those if he
No,
needed
no.
to?
I'm just saying. I'm assuming you have a mantle, and that's where they would be.
They are on the mantle, and my friends give me a hard time about that, like that it's obnoxious to put them there.
No,
And
it's
like,
not
no,
obnoxious.
No, that's what a mantle is made. Every mantle is made for Emmys. It's just that some people never got them. They're literally built with the weight, configurations for a 4-pound Emmy.
Now
Pretty heavy.
you have a new stand-up special that premieres next Tuesday,
Yeah,
and it's called "You Know Me."
right. I think it's kind of based on everything you just said, that I've got all these credits, and yet when I walk down the street, here's what I get. About every other day somebody walks past me, and then they kind of squint, and they stare, and then they just slowly shake their head and keep walking. That's the height of it's like, you know me, but you you may not know my name, but I've been around. I've been in your consciousness on some level for 35 years.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
Well, you've not only had your stand-up specials,
Yeah.
but you've been in movies, TV
Yeah.
shows.
Yep. Yeah. I'm always the guy that's I've got a headset and I'm directing a plane, or I have to wake the president.
That was
Well,
all those top acting skills right
Yeah.
there.
well,
Right.
there was a movie last year.
Road Dog with Doug Stanhope, which we did in Chicago, and we got snowed in, and we had like 3 straight days where we couldn't film because nobody could get to the set. And we sat at an Outback Steakhouse, and Stanhope's an alcoholic, but like avowed, like embraces it, and we'll ride it to the finish line. And so he just held court, and we spent 3 days sleeping for 6 hours a day. Otherwise, we stood in the Outback and just bought people drinks and had a party. And the movie turned out not bad. It won some awards and some festivals. And I had written with Doug on The Man Show, which was when Joe Rogan took over with Stanhope for a while, and that was the same kind of thing. Just the way these guys have lived their lives. They'd show up stoned, just we'd start writing at 9:00 at night. Everybody would just get stoned, and Doug had gotten divorced and was sleeping on an army cot in the writer's room, and was just doing, what do you call them, Irish showers, where you just splash water in different parts.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
Well, you mentioned writers' rooms. You've also spent a lot of time in writers' rooms.
Yes.
I mean, you've written a lot of material that people have watched, but of course they would never know it's you because it comes out of somebody else's mouth.
Right.
I mean, if it's Bill Maher saying your words.
Yeah. Right.
And I've often wondered what that is like.
Yeah.
When you're in the room, you're trying to come up with material that somebody else is going to be delivering.
Yeah.
And then when you watch it,
Yeah.
what does that feel like?
It's really rewarding. And one of the funnest times of doing that was I wrote for Ellen DeGeneres, which was not the funnest time. But the part of the job that I enjoyed was I was a writer and producer on the show, but then she also asked me to do the audience warm-up. So I would come out, and the audience was it was just women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who were frothing at the mouth. They were such big fans that they literally couldn't control themselves.
And they wanted to dance.
And they wanted to dance badly. Like people that, like Elaine from Seinfeld dancing. And so I would come out and I'd warm them up. And it was my first day on the job. And I didn't know how to do warm-up. I'd never done it before, but Ellen just liked me, and she's like, all right, you're going to do it. So I walk out and I go, all right, I don't know what to do. I go, when I say banana, you guys do the wave. So I start talking, I go, banana. And the whole audience stands up and they do the wave. And I'm just so corny. It's so embarrassing. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like a real comedian. And then Ellen comes out and she does her monologue. And I completely forget that she has the word banana in her monologue.
That is fantastic.
And she hasn't seen the warm-up. So she gets to that word and she says banana,
And
this
everybody does the wave.
crowd of housewives from Akron, Ohio do the wave, and she just goes just like deer in the headlights, like, what? It's her first day. She's like so worried about how it's going to go. And then she goes, okay, I don't know what just happened, but the audience just did the wave. And then she goes, let's retake the joke. And she does it again, says banana. They get up, they do it. This goes on 3 times. And I'm sitting in the front row with my face in my hands going, my job's over. Not only the warm-up job, but the writing job. And so it just kept happening. And then I finally ran up on stage and I explained to her what happened. And we had a pretty good laugh over that. But I would sit in the front row during warm-up, and I had cue cards and a magic marker. And on the fly, when she would interview a guest, I would scramble out a joke and I would hold it up. And Tom Cruise was on one time, and she didn't see the joke, so I would actually get up on behind the side of the stage and hold it up over his shoulder, and I was holding it right behind him, and Tom Cruise just flips around and he goes, what the hell are you doing behind me? And she goes, Greg, just sit down.
You should add that to your intro there.
More time I got yelled at by Tom Cruise once.
Yes, Greg Fitzsimmons with us.
And Ellen a few times.
Here at Q104.3. We'll be right back. It's 8:18. And Greg Fitzsimmons, it's the shameless plug portion of our program. And you've got a lot of things to shamelessly plug. Because you've got the big special, which on your YouTube channel premieres next Tuesday. It's called Greg Fitzsimmons, You Know Me.
Yeah.
And where was it?
We shot it at Joe Rogan's club in Austin called the Mothership. And it was, it was down and dirty. I came at the Cowboys with a lot of like anti-gun material, and that was all right. That went well. But it's, I'm excited about the special, and it's going to be cut up. It'll be all over social media, and it's something that I haven't shot a special in a long time. Yeah, so it's great. I'm really proud of it.
And you've got some podcasts as well.
I got Fitzdog Radio that I did my 1,000th episode recently, and I interview big comedians. I've had Carl Reiner on and Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, and then I get all the great comics, Dave Attell and Louis C.K. and that's on once a week. And then I do one called Sunday Papers, which is just like a roundup. We go through the newspaper every Sunday, and we read each section: entertainment, business, sports, and we have jokes written for each section of the paper. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years with the guy that's my best friend from college, who's gone on to become a big comedy writer. He created David Spade's show, Norm Macdonald's show, and George Lopez. And so we're still best friends, and we just hang and tell jokes.
Which newspaper? Is it the LA Times?
No, we pull stories from many different. It's on the internet. Okay. I don't know how it works.
I mean, I love physical Sunday newspapers.
Yes, I still get the New York Times delivered to my house every Sunday, and then I feel very guilty when it's Thursday and I haven't cracked it yet.
Mm. And there's another one. Okay, you've named
and
two.
And then Childish, which is me and Allison Rosen talk about. She's got babies and I've got grown kids, and it's me trying to teach her how to parent, and she's not buying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'll take any advice.
Advice you can get at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to get past the chicken nugget phase. That's all.
Yeah. Go on the road a lot. That was my secret.
Okay. Greg Fitzsimmons, You Know Me. It premieres Tuesday on his YouTube channel. The production took place in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Yeah. And it was, it's the first time I shot it, I did it at the Comedy Store in L.A., and I just didn't feel like I got it. We did a couple tapings. I tried to edit it together, and I was just like, I don't want this to be my special. And so I just scrapped. I'd spent a lot of money.
Really?
And I just scrapped the whole thing, and I started over again. And like 4 months later, I did it in Austin. And first show I did, I got off stage, and it felt like the first time I'd ever done stand-up. I was so excited.
Was it you, or was it the location?
Location. Like you just weren't feeling you telling the jokes, or was it the
camera problems?
Okay.
2 of the cameras, you shoot it with like 6 or 7 cameras.
Okay.
And 2 of the main cameras the settings were wrong, so we couldn't use them.
Okay.
So
that's what Jim says sometimes when he says
he looks big in the pictures or the videos we put, but
he
blames it on the cameras.
Well, you have a large head. I mean, there's no that. It's not the camera, Jim.
Okay, so and do you have any more movies or TV shows in your future?
Right now, Hollywood has been shut down since the pandemic. There was a writer's strike, and then we had the IATSE, which is all the below-the-line people, all just threatened to strike. So it has been dead. There is nothing. It's not me. I'm still viable. I'm still talented. There's just nothing to do.
And you got 4 Emmys.
And I got 4 Emmys. I'm developing a show right now with Bill Burr's company. That's
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
love
yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
So that's something.
All right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for dropping by.
Jim, it's an honor. I've always been a fan of yours, and it's a pleasure to sit with you, especially with you knowing my dad. That means a lot to me.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Greg Fitzsimmons.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.